Hello.
Hello, hello! Welcome to today's live English lesson here on the wonderful Speak English with Vanessa YouTube channel page. Thank you for joining me. I'm Vanessa, and this is my husband, Dan.
I'm Dan. You might know me well.
Yes, Dan is going to help today to explain 3 valuable English expressions. One of them is a phrasal verb, one of them is an idiom, and what's the last one?
We got slang as well. We like slang around here.
Yes, so we'll hopefully help you to expand your vocabulary and also just see some specific examples when you can use this in your daily conversations or in your writing or in your job or in your travels, anytime that you use English. If you're joining us live, thanks so much. Let us know where you're from and let us know in the chat box. We're going to be asking a lot of questions today, so make sure that you interact and participate. You can write out the questions. You can write out your answers. Even if you're not watching live, if you're watching the replay, you can do the same thing. Write out the questions, write out your own answers. Try to use these because that's the best way to remember what you're learning.
Yes, and a happy, early Merry Christmas. If anybody hasn't noticed our Christmas tree back here.
Yes.
I love Christmas. It's my favorite time of year.
Yeah, so we decided to open the door so that you could get a little sneak preview of our Christmas tree. That was Dan's idea. Thanks.
Yes, we need the sneak preview.
Yes. Thank you, everyone who's joining us from Mexico, India, Brazil,
Japan,
Yemen, Colombia,
Egypt,
Hungary. Thank you so much for joining us. Peru, Turkey, Morocco. Wow.
Kurdistan.
From
Never
everywhere,
been there.
Everywhere around the world. Thanks so much. So I'd like to start by asking you the first question.
Okay.
And my first question is, well, it has to do with something that happened this week. We had a friend who invited us to an escape room for her birthday, but I had never heard of that. So could you explain it to me? What's an escape room? Because if my friend's inviting me there for her birthday, I want to know what I'm going to do.
Yeah, an escape room. I don't know if they do this in other countries yet, but it's started to get kind of popular in America. So you actually pay to get locked up in a room.
Yes.
So, and it's filled with puzzles. So you have to, one might say, figure out some puzzles.
Yes.
So I've done one before, and I remember they started me off in the room in handcuffs with all the lights off.
And you were with other people, or were you alone?
I was with other people. It'd be a little scary alone, I think.
I guess you could do it alone, but it's fun as maybe a group activity. That's why we got invited to a friend's house.
Right, and they call it an escape room because you're supposed to escape the room. That's the point of the game. So I don't know, do they have that in your countries?
Yeah, are escape rooms becoming popular in your country? So the kind of principle of this type of activity is that you have to figure out how to get out of the room. What is this lovely phrasal verb here? Figure out.
Figure out. That means to learn how to do something.
Yes.
And it usually means it's a little difficult. You're working on something.
Yes.
Maybe you have a really hard math problem. This happened to me all the time when I was in school. Math was not my strong suit, so I had to figure out how to solve the problem.
Yes, you had to figure out. So this kind of implies a process. It's difficult. Maybe you have to look from one resource to the next resource and ask someone. You have to do some problem solving, kind of like you can imagine if Dan's in a dark room with his friends, handcuffed, and they have to figure out how to get out of the room. That involves a process.
Yeah.
You have to problem solve and figure out other things. So I want to know for you, my question for you is, when was a time you had to figure out how to solve a problem?
You can also say figure it out.
Figure it out. So when would we use figure it out?
Yeah, if you're already in the process of working on something, you might just say to yourself, oh man, I really need to figure it out.
Yeah, so the other day,
I need to figure this out.
I was in the office in this room, and I think I made some kind of sound like, ugh, some kind of frustrated sound. And you said from the other room, hey, Vanessa, are you okay? And I said, oh, it's fine. I'll figure it out. I didn't tell him any specifics. I didn't say, I'm working on this problem on the website, and technical things are sometimes frustrating to me. I didn't give him any details. I just said, oh, I'll figure it out.
She knew I wouldn't be able to figure it out.
I didn't want to explain those details.
She figured it out on her own.
Yes. So do you think that this is an expression and a phrasal verb that you could use in a workplace situation if you have some kind of problem?
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's useful for those kind of professional situations, certainly. So maybe if you have a problem on some kind of report that you're working on
Mhm.
and you want to ask a coworker about it,
Can you help me figure this out?
figure this out.
That would be polite
Mm.
and it's acceptable.
Yes, so
It's not slang.
Yeah, it's not slang. It's can be polite, and you can split this phrasal verb like Dan just did. Figure it out,
Mhm.
or figure this out, or figure this problem out, figure this thing out. So you can split it or you can keep it together, no problem. We've got two different choices. So a lot of you are writing wonderful expressions here. I see Zahira says, I will figure out how to get confident in English.
That's a good one.
That is a great one.
Yeah.
So here we can kind of imagine that you're solving the problem, you're working through this issue, and you're going to figure it out. I will figure it out. I know I'll do it.
I couldn't figure out what my boss was talking about as I don't speak Mongolian.
Oh.
That's a good one too. I couldn't figure it out in the negative.
Yes. So when you're using this in the negative version, just like we saw here in this sample sentence from those of you who are here live with us, saying, I couldn't figure out what my boss was saying. Or maybe if you had an English teacher who just talked way too fast and talked about too many complex things, then maybe you would say, oh, I can't figure out what Vanessa's saying. She's just talking too fast.
We have a question. Is find out similar?
Oh, this is a great question.
Find out.
And I want to give you a little tip. Maybe a year ago, over a year ago, or maybe less than a year ago, I'm not sure, I made a video comparing figure out and find out.
Oh.
After this is finished, I'll link this video up here and then also in the description, but I want you to get some more details about that. If I said, I'm going to find out who is at the door.
That means you're going to discover. You're going to see. Find out. You don't know right now, and then you're going to find out. You're going to discover.
It kind of doesn't imply that process. You're searching a difficult thing. Instead, it's an instant thing like, aha, I opened the door and I can see who's there. I'm going to find out who's there.
Yeah. Maybe if you said, I'm going to figure out who's at the door, maybe you hear a knock on the door and you look through the hole and you don't see anybody. Or maybe somebody's wearing a mask. And then they give you a puzzle.
Yeah, so it is kind of implies
it needs to be
process.
more involved.
Yeah, so if you would like some more details about figure out versus find out, feel free to check out that video. But in general, figure out means there's some process. You're searching, you're figuring out how to do something. We often add how at the end. Figure out how to escape from the room. Figure out how to become a confident English speaker. And find out is just the solution. Find out what is happening. Find out who is at the door.
I want to find out what presents are under my Christmas tree.
Are there any presents under our Christmas tree?
There are no presents.
Maybe someday there will be presents under the tree.
Christmas is ruined.
Oh, well, when you have a toddler,
it's still early.
You can't put Christmas presents under the tree early. It's a recipe for getting them opened.
Yes.
All right, I'd like to go to the second expression, which is an idiom. And this past week, our car was doing some kind of funny things, making some funny sounds, and I noticed that you didn't fix the car yourself. You took it to the mechanic. Why did you take the car to the mechanic?
Well, I'm not a mechanic. I'm not very handy. Handy means you can fix a lot of things. I'm kind of handy, but not with cars. So I am in over my head when it comes to fixing cars. I would be in over my head if I tried to fix my car. In over my head.
A lovely idiom. In over my head. We need
in
4
what?
words here. Well, we can kind of imagine the feeling of being overwhelmed. You're completely surrounded or covered in the problem. So here we can imagine Dan opening the car, trying to fix the problem. He's trying to figure out what's making that strange sound. He's trying to look around.
I'm ripping pieces out of the car.
Oh, and he thinks, oh, it's going to be a disaster. I should just go to the mechanic because I am in over my head.
Yes.
There's a problem that's too big.
You can think of swimming in the ocean. If you're drowning, the water's over your head, you're in trouble.
Yes.
You're struggling.
I think that's a great image.
I think this is where this comes from.
Yeah, when I think of this expression, I do think of water. that you're in the swimming pool or in the ocean and the water's getting higher and higher. And when the water is over your head, bad news.
Yeah. I mean, really, that probably means you're going to die.
Yeah.
So this is a little bit of a expression that's not literal, obvious. That's why it's an idiom, right?
Yes.
So you're just in trouble.
Yes.
You're in big trouble.
In over your head. So I want to know for you, when was a situation that was just too much for you and you felt like you were in over your head? What was a time? Maybe you decided to volunteer at your job to be the person who helps the American director who's coming to your office, and you said, sure, I'll talk to the American director, I'll take him out to dinner, I'll guide him around the office, I can speak English, this is fine. And then you meet him and you realize he has a strong Southern accent.
Howdy, folks.
Maybe at the end of that day you feel like, I was in over my head. This situation was too much for me. I can understand English, but I didn't realize that his accent would be so strong. I was in over my head.
Yeah. I have a personal example.
Yes. What's your personal example?
So we used to teach English in South Korea. You probably know this. And I had never taught children before. So the first time I had to teach a class of children, I was in over my head. In over my head, because the children, they didn't necessarily respect me yet. I'm different looking in South Korea, my red hair and my freckles. They thought it was weird. They didn't take me seriously. They started yelling and screaming. I was in over my head because I didn't know what to do about it. So.
Yes. And over time, you learned more and more what to do. But that's a perfect situation, a perfect expression to use, especially for your first day at school, your first day as a teacher, your first day at your job, maybe your first day living in the US, or if you move to Australia.
This happens a lot.
Oh, I was in over my head that first day, but eventually it got better. So I want to know for you, when was a situation when you were in over your head?
Tell us about it.
Yes, let us know in the comments. Make sure that you use this expression as much as you can. I'd like to read a sentence that one of you wrote. I was in over my head. I was stressed. I couldn't do it. Oh, stress is usually associated with being in over your head.
Yes.
You're stressed. You're overwhelmed. Yes, it's just too much. I'm in over my head. Khalid says, I'm in over my head. The American director speaks too fast.
That's a good example.
I hope that didn't happen to you, but if this happened, you're going to use a beautiful idiom to describe it. Oh, yes. I'm in over my head.
Are you in over your head when you watch Vanessa's videos? I hope not.
Oh, yes. I hope that you can easily understand and you're not too cool for my videos.
But maybe she's a little advanced.
Sure. If you're here, that means you can already understand 2 native English speakers. Congratulations. But hopefully it means that you're learning something new while also understanding most of our explanations. I just used our third expression.
You did?
The slang expression. I hope you're not too cool for these videos.
Ooh, too cool for.
Yeah, so I want to know, when you were a teenager, what was something that you decided that you didn't want to do anymore?
Yeah, I can actually go back to when I was younger.
Okay.
Even when I was a kid, when I was 8 years old, I was too cool for Barney.
Oh.
You know who Barney is?
I do. Barney is a kid's TV show. It's probably popular around the world. Yeah. It's a big purple dinosaur.
He's a big purple dinosaur in a big costume, and I'm happy, And I remember being, as a kid, I was too cool for Barney. And this means that I thought it was dumb. I wouldn't watch it myself. If somebody was watching this show, I would maybe look down on them.
They're too they're children.
Yeah,
children watch this. I'm too old and too cool for this.
I don't watch Barney. I'm too cool for Barney.
Yeah, so I feel like this slang expression, too cool.
Barney, B-A-R-N-Y.
N-E-Y?
E-Y?
E-Y, something like that. I'm sure you'll find the big purple dinosaur online. Well, when you say too cool for something, it's pretty self-explanatory. You feel like, this is for children. This is for someone who is less than me. So it's a slang expression where you feel like you're above some kind of item or activity or concept. Oftentimes, teenagers feel like this. Maybe when you were a teenager, you felt like you were too cool to hold hands with your mom when you crossed the street. You said, I'm a teenager. I can handle this.
Yeah.
I'm too cool for that. And you kind of feel like that's for children.
Yes, and this slang term definitely implies attitude. You're not just saying, oh no, I don't like that. You're saying, that's stupid.
Yeah, I'm too cool for that.
That's dumb. I wouldn't listen to that music anymore. Loser.
Yeah, so you might hear this often used by kids, like in Dan's example about the children's TV show, or by teenagers, but we can use this as adults in a joking way because we often take expressions that are strong and then use them in lighter situations where it's not as serious. And for example, maybe if I want to watch, I don't know if you've seen I think it's a Pixar movie, Coco. It's really cute and I enjoyed it a lot. If I asked Dan, hey, do you want to watch Coco tonight? I
would say yes.
He would say yes. Let's imagine that he might say no. And let's
say I'm too cool.
Yeah. I might say, what?
Coco.
Are you too cool to watch Coco?
I don't watch cartoons.
That's not true. But in this situation,
I actually love cartoons.
So I might say to Dan, are you too cool for Coco?
Too cool for Coco.
Are you too cool for Pixar movies? Are you too cool for animated movies? So here we're using this not in a teenager or childish way, but just in a joking way.
Kind of a joke.
Yeah, to say, oh, you think you're better than this movie? It's great for everybody. I enjoy it. I think a lot of people have enjoyed it. So you can use too cool for something in a lot of situations.
And by the way, the original expression, I think, from too cool is too cool for school. We actually say that still. Sometimes people even say that as a good thing. Like, wow, that's too cool for school.
And when would you use that? This is taking slang to the next level, extra slang.
If you saw maybe like an outfit, like an outfit that was really cool, you could say, whoa, that's too cool, or that's too cool for school. I wouldn't say this is extremely common, but people would understand you're not being rude.
Yeah, so I imagine if you heard this in a TV show or a movie, now you'll feel a little more comfortable with too cool and also too cool for school, which is just the rhyming original expression.
But yeah, the original expression was, you would say somebody is too cool for school. He's too cool for school. He doesn't like to go to school. He's unhappy at school.
He has an attitude.
He doesn't like reading. That kind of thing. That's the original source.
Yeah, well, we have a lot of great sentences here from those of you who are joining us live talking about...
Your grandma's too cool to watch Coco.
Oh, no. Well, Sylvester says, I will never be too cool to watch cartoons. Oh, or I'll never be too cool for cartoons.
Maybe it's because I was a child with cartoons. I still like cartoons, especially Miyazaki. Does anybody watch Miyazaki? Japanese animation?
Very cool.
I like that.
Very cool. Or another great comment we've got here is, I'm too cool for dancing. Oh, so maybe if your friends ask you to go to a concert to dance, or a club or somewhere to dance, you're like, I'm too cool for dancing.
I'm not too cool for dancing, but I'm bad at dancing. So
there are lots of excuses you can give, various excuses.
Too cool for Brad Pitt.
Oh, maybe there's a lot of different ways that you can use too cool for something. Well, I'd like to thank you so much for joining us to learn about phrasal verbs, idioms, and the slang expression today. Figure out, in over my head, and too cool for something. If you enjoyed Dan and I's explanation and our little stories about this, we do this every month in the Fearless Fluency Club. We make a vocabulary lesson that's about, how long would you say?
That's like 30, 40 minutes.
Oh, I'd say it's about an hour. Usually there's two parts. There's two 30-minute parts that we have for the vocabulary lessons. True. And
we cut it in half.
Yeah, we cut it in half and make two different parts. So you'll get an hour of about 15 to 20 vocabulary expressions every month. So for the month of December, you got a sneak preview about these expressions. In December, 3 of the 17 or 18 expressions are figure out something, in over my head, and too cool for something. These are 3 expressions that we talk about in the December lesson set for the Fearless Fluency Club. So I'd like to show you really quick and give you a quick sneak preview.
Yes, let's take a look.
Yes, of this wonderful monthly lesson set so that you can see here, we have the December 2018 lesson set that's going to come out tomorrow. So if you join in December, you'll get access to the December lesson set, and you can use the coupon code NEW, N-E-W, to get it for only $5. And I'd like to show you here, we have the vocabulary that we just mentioned. The vocabulary part 1, you can see, oh, we're going to put this on
I had a haircut.
On mute so that you can see it. We talk about a lot of different expressions, and then you can see the clips from the original conversation when it was used. So here you're getting great explanations from Dan and I, 2 different parts. And then we go on to the grammar lesson. And in December, you're going to get one of the longest grammar lessons that I've ever made. It's 34 minutes, but you're going to get access to this grammar lesson where we're going to discuss some excellent expressions with would have. Would have. Oh, this is a complex verb. It seems simple, but it's quite complex. So we break it down, go through it step by step, and I try to help you use it naturally. Then in the next section, in December, we talk about pronunciation. This pronunciation lesson is extra special because we're going to be focusing on a lot of sentences. Oh, here we have a sentence with figure out. They can figure things out. We go through this step by step, and you can figure out how to pronounce this sentence as accurately as possible. And then you get to watch the conversation with my friend Faith. You get to hear her naturally say this originally in the conversation, because the last video is the conversation where we have a 30-minute chat together about her interesting job working for AmeriCorps, which is a nonprofit in the US. She volunteers at different schools, at different organizations, and has interesting perspective about education. So we're going to talk about some wonderful ideas there. We also focus on a story that includes all of the vocabulary and grammar, all of the would have expressions, some new expressions as well that are in the story. This is a fun Christmas story because it's the December lesson set, and you can study this all together. So I hope that this lesson set overall will help you to feel comfortable using English and really trying to incorporate it into your daily life. So if you enjoyed today's lesson, feel free to join us every month in the Fearless Fluency Club. There is a link in the description. You can continue learning with Dan and I.
You can figure out English with us.
Yes, you can figure out how to use it.
If you're not too cool for school.
Yeah, don't be too cool for school. Before we go today, I'd like to practice pronouncing a final sentence that uses 2 of the expressions we talked about today. The sentence, I wrote it down here so that we can practice it together. It is, I would like to say it slowly, and then we're going to speed it up, and I want you to say it out loud so that you can use your speaking muscles. I'd like you to join me too, Dan.
Okay.
Okay. And
I'm nervous.
All right, we got this. The sentence is, I was in over my head before, but now I figured out how to learn English. I was in over my head before, but now I figured out how to learn English. What does this sentence mean? I was in over my head before, but now I figured out how to learn English.
Well, this means that before today, maybe, you didn't know how to speak English at all. You didn't understand me. You didn't understand Vanessa. But now you have figured it out.
Yes, you have figured out the best path and the best method is with Vanessa and Dan.
This is true.
So let's speed this sentence up, and I want you to pronounce it clearly and then use it yourself. Are you ready? I was in over my head before, but now I figured out how to learn English. Let's say it faster. I was in over my head before, but now I've figured out how to learn English. I was in over my head before, but now I've figured out how to learn English. Can you say it?
I was in over my head before, but now I have figured out how to learn English.
With Vanessa and Dan. Thanks so much for learning English with us. I hope that you enjoyed this lesson, this live lesson. You can join me for a new lesson every Friday. And you just can subscribe to my YouTube channel and click the bell to get a notification every time there's a live lesson. I hope that you'll continue to enjoy these, and we'll see you again next Friday for a new lesson here on this YouTube channel. Thanks so much. We'll see you again later.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.